I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Texas Pledge is on your program, if you're like me and need some help. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. You may be seated. I have been asked by Lou Ann Garrett, member who did a lot of work on our voter's guide, that you save the guide in case there is a runoff after the election. So you might want to hang on to those. And now, before I turn the program over to our moderator, I'm going to ask the unopposed candidates in this section. If you are unopposed candidate, would you stand, please? Tell us your name and what you are running for.
My name is Mike Purcell, and I'm running for Texas House of Representatives, District 86.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Greg Sagan. I'm a Democrat, and I'm running for Congress, District 13.
Thank you. And now this section over here. Okay. Thank you. Over here, do we have any under? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Is there anyone else? Thank all of you for coming. All right, over here now. All right. The two in front of him.
Gary Jackson, running for Potter County, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 3.
Thank you.
Debbie Horn, running for Potter County, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1.
Thank you.
Libby DeFord, Loudoun County, Precinct 4.
I'm Tracy Bird, running for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Loudoun County.
Thank you.
I'm Pat Pearl, running for the 7th Court of Appeals.
Thank all of you, and thank all of you for coming. And now for the opposed candidates, I will turn the program over to our moderator, James Hunt.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, League of Women Voters. And thanks to all of you who are here tonight. We appreciate your time. And we know this is a very important time of the year as we prepare to vote. We have early voting coming up very quickly. One of the things that I want to say from the outset here, and I might repeat this at different times, any of us who are speaking, we need to make sure that we are speaking pretty close to the microphone. I understand in the past we've had some, let's say, audio issues with that, so the microphones are sensitive, but just not that sensitive. So maybe about like this kind of distance. If I'm projecting okay to everybody here, is everybody here hearing me okay? Okay, good deal. Another note to get in here as we begin our presentation, we want to certainly say thank you to Panhandle PBS. They are our partner tonight, helping the League of Women Voters of Amarillo to reach a wider audience with our event. In fact, video from this forum is being streamed live, even as we speak, on Panhandle PBS Facebook page. This video is going to remain posted on Facebook and will also be posted at panhandlepbs.org so that people who were unable to attend tonight can access the video and view it on demand. So, for everyone here, if you would like to help distribute that video, you can find it and share it so that we can collectively become better informed voters. This is a partnership with PBS that we are delighted to have, and we hope to continue this in the future. Both of our organizations have missions to enlighten and educate our community. Also want to note that Amarillo College staff and mass media students are helping us tonight, gathering your questions from the candidates. And now, a few words about questions. If you have a question for a candidate, here are some things to remember. Their written form. All questions are to be submitted in writing. Please, no verbal questions from the audience. Write your question. The question needs to include which office the question is for, which race the question is for. If we have duplicates, we won't be asking the same essential question twice. There's no guarantee that all questions will get in. We do have time constraints. We also have some folks who are working with us tonight as volunteers screening the questions. We have Marilyn Van Patten, Sonia Letson, and Susan Coleman. They are evaluating the questions before they will be delivered to me by our runners. We have some people here tonight who are working the room, and they will be picking up any questions that you have to submit and bringing them to the screeners and then ultimately on to me. So those kind of are the mechanics of how everything works tonight. But again, if you have a written question, make sure that your question includes which race the question is for, no duplicates. That's something we'll take care of through screening. No guarantees that all questions get asked. We are going to ask that any question asked be targeted to an issue question, not targeted to an individual candidate. So in other words, the question would cover anything that the particular office might have to be responding to as an issue, a challenge, what have you, but not questions targeted specifically to a candidate. And this is one of the things that makes me happy tonight, that I'm a moderator, not somebody turning in questions. The questions have to be written legibly. I would be disqualified were that to be the case for myself. So if you are a candidate speaking tonight, this is where you will be. There may be some microphone sharing involved if we have, let's say, 3 candidates, because as you can see, there are 2 microphones. So you might want to reach for the microphone when it's your turn and move it closer to you. And so we are ready now to begin. And we are going to begin first. Oh, we're going to talk about, it is time to talk about the time, as the timekeeper is reminding me. Our timekeeper is Ann Hicks. She is a veteran timekeeper, which not only means that she's very good at what she does, but she's also very good at catching on to anybody who is looking to violate the rules of time constraints. So Ann, let's proceed. Explain the rules of time.
Okay, at the 32nd time of your single-minute talk, I will hold up this sign. When it's 30 seconds later, I will hold up this. It says stop. If you don't stop, I'll probably stand up. And then go like this.
That's right. So she has those ancient signals that will let you know that it is the end of your time. So we will now proceed in hearing from candidates. The first office that we are looking at tonight, we have candidates for Senate District 31. Our candidates include Kel Seliger. My understanding is that the senator is not with us tonight. We also have Mike Cannon and Victor Leal, candidates running in the Republican primary. We will go in order of where things are presented here on my program. One thing that I will make note of, if I feel that there's a need for follow-up questions, let's say in any of the presentations, if there is something that perhaps one of the candidates who has spoken about in another candidate's presentation, if I feel like there is a need for an opportunity for the candidate spoken about to respond, I will be exercising that right. So, on now to the Senate District 31 race, and we'll begin first with Mike Cannon. You have 1 minute for opening presentation.
Thank you very much for having this tonight. I'm Mike Cannon. I'm a former mayor of Midland. I'm a principled conservative. The theme of my campaign, or the motto of our campaign, is life, liberty, limited government, and lower taxes. I believe that real wealth is created in the private sector and not by government. I believe in limited government and lower taxes. My question for y'all today is, We've had the same person represented us now for 14 years, and yet we see our Texas government not getting appreciably better. We see our education system in shambles, and we see District 31 not getting a fair shake. My question is, when are we going to come to our senses? When are we going to decide that it's time to send someone else down there? I have a proven record. I've represented folks for over 40 years, sometimes with not good facts, and I've brought good results many, many times. I know how to get with people. I know how to bring good results. Thank you very much. I'm asking you for your vote.
And now we have Victor Leal.
Thank you so much, James, and I'm going to try to be really careful here. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. As I look across this room, man, we have some incredible candidates, and this area is well represented. Whoever wins, and we're going to do a really good job, including present company. I think the world of Mike Cannon. I think the world of Kel Seliger. I'm just one of the other ones. I happen to be the best candidate, but I think these guys are good guys, too. Y'all know me from the restaurant. Leal's. I'm the guy that does queso and does enchiladas and things like that. My family business started back in 1957, and I learned the struggles of hard work and doing a family business, know what that's all about. Dad told us this: nobody owes you a thing. In life, you're not entitled to anything. Work hard, be thankful and grateful for everything you receive. I've learned to serve at the table, at the kitchen, and I've learned to serve when I was a mayor as well and on several state agencies. My issues, the issues that I know are important to you: I'm a pro-life Catholic. I will protect and defend life from conception to natural death. I want to secure our border and enforce our laws. I want to make sure we have great public schools, and I want to lower property taxes. Thank you all tonight. Appreciate it.
Now, as we proceed forward, we now have 4 minutes total time. It is 2 minutes per attending candidate. So 2 times 2 gives us 4 minutes for discussion of issues that are pertinent to this specific office and the candidates for that office. We're going to open, gentlemen, we'll go to you now in reverse order of where you began speaking a moment ago. We'll go to you first, Victor. Again, you have 2 minutes. Okay. Let me ask you here, you gave, of course, as any candidate would, a range of issues. What would you say is the most pressing issue right now for Texas state government and specifically Senate District 31?
That's a great question, James. Let me tell you, when I go around the state, it's really tough to limit it to one because rising property taxes are a big one, obviously. Securing the border is obviously a big one. But when I got in this race, I announced at Muleshoe High School with about 75 of my closest friends, and I pledged to them there at that public school that I was going to be a champion for public education. I think it's incredibly important that we have 5.5 million kids in this state that we are educating, and we have to do a great job of that. One of the things that I would want to do is make sure that we're getting more of the money that is currently available into the classroom. Depending on what report you read or what you believe, right now we have about 50 cents of every dollar actually getting into the classroom. Let me give you a number. The last 25 years, we've had a 48% increase in student enrollment, had about a 55% increase in teachers, had about a 66% increase in administrators. Not the administrators' fault, we just have a ton of regulations and things that public schools have to comply with at the federal level and on the state level. Let me give you some more numbers. Right now, it costs about $12,000 per year to educate a child in the state of Texas when you take all the federal funds, local bond issues, state funds, and we have about 22 kids on average in the state of Texas per classroom. We pay our teachers across the board, and some of our local teachers would love to have this much money, but it's about $50,000 on average across the state that we pay our teachers. That's a measly 21% of the money that goes into the classroom. We need to do better by our teachers. We need to do better by our retired teachers to make sure that the promises that we've made them, that we're good by. And so also our insurance for the teachers, we have to make sure that as those costs rise, we need to beat those back, make sure our retired teachers are taken care of. So James, I would say that public education, making sure that we do away with this test, do better by our students. I want to empower students and parents over the bureaucrats in Austin. Thank you.
Candidate Mike Cannon.
Victor and I are in agreement on that. We spend about half of our Texas budget on on education, on public education, and yet, as I go around the district and I talk with folks that are involved in education, superintendents, teachers, parents, I hear a lot of frustration. I hear time and time again people saying that they don't feel like the kids are really getting educated, and they feel like they're teaching to the test instead of teaching the children, and they're frustrated. And I think about the fact that our legislature has just unleashed the Texas Education Agency and allowed them to do what they've done to our schools. I believe that what we need to do is to genuinely bring local control to our school districts. And we need to empower our school districts to be able to make the kind of decisions that they need to be able to make for their children. Each district has different children. Each class has different children. We need to be able to allow the teachers to be able to teach the children instead of teach to the test. I've suggested that perhaps maybe the best thing to do would be to have maybe one standardized test around 6th or 7th grade, which would make sure that all of our children knew how to read, write, do arithmetic, add, subtract, and divide, do percentages and fractions, and make sure they get the basics. And then beyond that, make sure that they get some type of skill that they can walk out of school with and actually be able to go out into the world and be able to be a success. If they know those skills that I've talked about, if they can open a newspaper and read it, if they know a skill to work with their hands or with their mind when they come out of school, they're going to be a success. They may change what they do later in life, but they're going to believe in themselves, and that's what's necessary to make a person successful. We need to get serious about educating our kids.
Now, as I prepared to be moderator tonight, it was my understanding that what we have is, in our Q&A session, we have 2 minutes per candidate. So we're at the 4-minute mark, but it's also my understanding that we have a total of 10 minutes per office. Given the fact that while you gentlemen were speaking, I was given a handful of additional questions, let us go ahead and we're going to use that additional 6 minutes. What I would ask of each of you candidates is to perhaps now give us answers that are in more capsule comment form so that we can try to get responses to more questions. So, and we're going to roll for a full 6.
Help me understand what in a what form?
Capsule comments, quick.
So you're limited to the minute or something like that. I'm trying to make sure I go by the rules here.
Quick as possible.
Okay.
I'm being capsule commented. That's what I'm doing. Right. Going forward, we're going to go 6 minutes and we're going to slice.
I'm like a Baptist preacher, man. I want to take all the time you'll give me.
So
all righty. So we will roll now for 6 minutes on the mark. We'll go to you first, candidate Cannon. Victor Leal, you will respond to this as well. How important an issue is public safety for you? What will you do to strengthen it? Again, let's try to go with condensed answers, or capsule as I call it.
public safety is one of the basic functions of government. It's absolutely important. It's absolutely essential. We need to make sure and secure our borders, and public safety should be at the very top of our list in terms of what we do. It's a basic function of government.
Absolutely, I agree, and I'm honored, humbled, and blown away by the fact that the Association of Amarillo Police Officers gave me their coveted endorsement. About 320 officers that trust in our campaign, trusted me to be the guy that is the public safety guy. That's a huge deal. That's a really big deal. So yeah, public safety is a big issue. When I was mayor in Muleshoe, I used to ride with the police. I understand some of the issues that they have. I will always back the blue. Speaking of, I encourage you all to pray for our police department. There was a tragic accident that took place yesterday. Police are putting a tremendous amount of stress, and we had a gentleman that was very heroic in his response, but some bad things took place. Always keep our police in your prayers and think about them. Thanks.
Candidate Cannon, what are your plans to reduce homeowners' insurance premiums?
Homeowners insurance premiums?
Yes.
It's a good question.
It is a good question. and it will be a strain to make it a capsule comment answer.
Well, I haven't said it just yet. But I'll tell you, I'm a free market guy. I don't believe the government should be controlling the price of homeowners insurance. I think that if you put it in a competitive market and you allow the market to work and to function, you're going to be able to get you're going to be able to get homeowners insurance for the price it ought to be, because capitalism will be at work, and the people that are trying to make a profit will be doing what they have to do in order to be able to stay in business. Those that can't get the job done, they'll fall out. That's the way the free market works.
From a personal level, I'll never replace a cedar roof with another cedar shake roof because, man, my insurance premiums are tremendously high. I'm with Mike on this one. I think that the solution lies in the free market. I'm a huge proponent of the markets working. I'm always a little bit concerned when the government gets in the business of picking winners and losers. That's never a good deal. When we start doing corporate welfare and start choosing one company over another, doing abatements and doing a lot of infusion of your taxpayer-earned money, I just think that's a bad deal. So I'm a huge free market. I'm in the free market. Every day you vote with your feet, your mouths, your bellies, I guess, and you come to my restaurant, or you don't. There are a lot of choices. So I would say that let's let the free market, let's compete along those lines.
Okay, and gentlemen, we have about a minute and a half left to go, so let's try to be brief on this question. But you can think of it in terms of what is your first priority, or as the person who wrote the question stated it, what is the first bill that you will file if you are elected to the Senate? Candidate Leal, we'll go back to you first, and then Candidate Cannon.
I would love to put a commission together. I think the first thing I'd want to do when I go around, one of the most egregious affronts on our public school system, Mike mentioned it already, this test, when I go around and talk to teachers and to students, is a high stakes test that has taken all the fun and curiosity and wonder out of learning. And it's taken a tremendous amount of our teachers out of the system. I've talked to so many, James, that say we just don't want to teach anymore because we don't feel like we can do the students a good job. I'm not in the education business. I would put a commission together to advise me. I'd put parents, educators, experts, and I'd include the students. And I would say, what is it that we need to measure? We have to measure something. We have to have accountability. But one of the first things I would look at, one of the first bills I would try to sponsor, file, author, would be something to do away with the tests that we now have so that we can bring wonder and learning, local control back to our local schools.
I'm not saying that Victor's heard me give answers to questions before, but that almost sounded identical to the answer that I would give. Absolutely, and I've said this, I would put standardized testing on the table. Because I think we need to seriously look at it. Obviously, we need to have accountability, but we need to get real serious about what we're doing in terms of testing our children and what we're really trying to accomplish. So my first bill would be to introduce a bill to eliminate standardized testing. As I've said, I realize it probably wouldn't end up like that, but I think we need to put it on the table and start talking about it. That's my first bill.
All right. Candidates Mike Cannon, Victor Leal, thank you. We appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us. Our next race is State Representative District 87. We have two candidates in the Republican primary, Drew Brassfield and For Price, the incumbent. It is my understanding that candidate Brassfield is not with us tonight, so we will allow candidate Price to do a 1-minute introduction, and then we'll go with a couple of minutes of Q&A time. So
not 10?
No, not 10 here. Yeah, so no opportunity here to
Yeah, come on back.
Yeah, no opportunity here to work on your filibuster skills.
Thank you, James, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this evening and this forum, because it is well attended and it's very educational. I think it's a great event that is put on. My name is For Price. I am running for re-election to the State House of Representatives, House District 87, which includes 5 counties in the Texas Panhandle: Potter, Moore, Sherman, Carson, and Hutchinson counties. We live in a very special place of this state, and it's unique, and I represent the people that live here. And I've been very proud that since I've been in the legislature for 4 terms, I've had the opportunity to serve on committees that are meaningful to our area. we can actually impact our way of life through meaningful involvement on committees and legislation that we sponsor. So I'm very proud of legislation that I passed. I want to build on that good work. I want to represent this area again. I'm asking for your vote. Again, my name is Ford Price. I'm running for House District 87, State House of Representatives. Thank you.
And Representative Price, I think anytime we have an elected official seeking another term, the most essential question is, why run for this office again? What remains that you want to accomplish? I know there's probably more than a 2-minute answer in what I've just asked, but what are your key priorities?
Well, that's a segue where I just ended my comments, because I'm really proud of legislation that I have authored and passed in the last 4 terms. This last session, I spent a great bit of my time working on health care and passing bills directly affecting the way we treat mental illness in the state of Texas. So one bill, probably my first bill that I would want to continue working on, is the development of early diagnosis, interaction, and treatment for our young children in need. And I think we have some good work that we can build off of from last session. I also passed a telemedicine bill. And that's good for us in rural Texas, but it's really helpful for people everywhere. So when we have medically underserved areas across the Panhandle and we are desperately in need of healthcare professionals, this bill is going to allow greater access to healthcare, and that's something I think is a high priority. So issues like that, I want to build off of the good work that's already been accomplished, and look forward to the opportunity to do that.
All right, State Representative Ford Price, we appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us.
All right, thank you.
So now we will go to the race for District Judge, 320th Judicial District. We have 3 candidates: Marcus Norris, Pamela Cook-Sermon, and Stephen Michael Denny.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Learned that in your Sunday school. That class. Where are the classes?
Again, we have a time limit, 1 minute for your introductions. Then we'll go to our Q&A with the 3 times 2 multiplication. It looks like we're looking at 6 minutes for exploring the issues in this particular race. We'll begin first with candidate Marcus Norris.
I am Marcus Norris. You know me from the last 15 years. Every Tuesday, I practice law in the public eye. You were able to see it on television or if you attended a city council meeting. I look forward to continuing my public service. I'm the only candidate who is a certified public manager. Most people do not realize that a district judge has administrative responsibilities outside the courtroom. They are important county administrators. They oversee our probation departments. They appoint the auditor, and I look forward to using my administrative skills, bring a fresh perspective to the Potter County Courthouse. I have that unique perspective to bring. I am concerned in terms of priorities about trying to control costs. There are several things a judge can do that contribute toward controlling cost. I am concerned about juvenile recidivism. In Texas, we're doing better on our adult recidivism rate, but our juvenile rate is in need of attention, and judges can contribute. Thank you.
Pamela Cook-Sermon.
Good evening. I'm Judge Pamela Sermon, and I am the current judge of Potter County Court at Law Number 2. I've been sitting in that bench for 19 years, and you're asking, why do I want to go across the street to the 320th? Well, the idea is kind of like teaching 8th grade and wanting to go and do something in the high school. I want to go across the street and work in a different court. I want a new challenge. And I've been kind of teased about, why do you want more to do? And it's because the court that I currently work in does family, criminal, civil, and probate cases. And the court that I want to go to does 45% of the family law, where I only do 10%. So I'm looking at 145 family law cases, and I'm looking across the street at 600 family law cases. I've sat in that court and done this work daily for 19 years, and I'm hoping to continue to do that. I look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve. I have a strict, a good budget, good staff, and we can go to work. We got the robe, we can go to work the first day. Thank you.
Candidate Stephen Michael Denny.
My name's Steve Denny. I'm running for the 320th District Court. I'm in that court at least weekly, sometimes daily, it seems like, along with the other 5 district courts, or other 4 district courts that we have in Potter and Randall counties. I handle the business that court handles daily. I am the only candidate that has handled felony criminal matters in the last at least 12, 15 years. I do that daily. I've handled serious capital felonies daily. And that's something that a judge in that court is going to have to deal with daily. You don't want somebody learning on the job. You want somebody that's been doing that job. And that's what I've been doing. As far as me, I'm a volunteer firefighter. I am a licensed EMT to help out with that for Potter County. I'm an Eagle Scout, born and raised in Amarillo. And the Amarillo Police Officers Association, despite me being a defense lawyer, endorsed me as the best candidate for this job. Thank you.
Candidates, thank you for your introductions. Now, again, we're going with the multiplier of 3 times 2. We have 6 minutes to discuss issues that apply to this office. Let us just say, in your answers, you certainly want to give a good answer, but we want to try to get in as many questions as we can, so brevity is beneficial. First question, we will go now, changing the order a little bit from your introductions. We'll go to Pamela Cook-Sermon. First question is, and the other 2 gentlemen, you will be responding to this as well. First question is, how important is it that the candidate winning this race have family law experience?
As pointed out, this court does 45% of the family law, 600 new cases every year, and it's extremely important because it really does impact people immediately, not down the road, but the division of your children, the division of your assets, the termination of parental rights, child custody, and CPS cases.
I agree. It's very important, and I handle divorces. I handle CPS cases. I handle family law matters. That's all definitely things that I handle. It's very important that the judge know what they're doing when those issues come up because there's not room for a mistake. So that's very important.
Yes, when I was a young lawyer, I did family law. No, I haven't done it in a while. Yes, I have homework to do to be prepared to begin work the first day if I am elected. But let me tell you what I do have. While this court has an emphasis on family law and criminal law, do not be deceived. This is a state district court of the state of Texas. It has general civil jurisdiction, and this court does receive breach of contract, employment law, real estate, torts, accidents. I have experience in every one of those areas of the law. And so, was that the question? Yes, thank you.
Okay, it's my understanding that we have time for another quick question, and this question actually pertains to quickness. So, are there things, we'll begin first with you, Stephen Michael Denny, then work our way back around. Are there things that you would implement to ensure a speedy court procedure?
Absolutely. You're guaranteed that by the Texas and United States Constitutions. You are entitled to get to court quickly. And that's important because witnesses can disappear and people's minds fade, and it's important to get into court quickly. What I would do is have a docket call that was set up that gives enough notice to the parties that they're able to get their subpoenas issued and get their witnesses in a row, and we're either going to work it out or we're going to go to trial quickly. I've got some great examples to follow in the county. We have some district courts and misdemeanor courts that do that, and I think we can do a little bit better job for that.
Marcus Norris.
Well, Stephen is correct. The key to moving trials is docket control. And you want to try to avoid unnecessary delays. Life happens. Lawyers and judges and parties have family emergencies, but barring that, you want to manage that docket. I will also use dismissal for want of prosecution. I come from San Antonio, Bexar County, where I was a young lawyer and was a litigator, and they made regular use. I've been here now 18 years in Amarillo, and I have yet to see but one docket for dismissal for want of prosecution. When you don't pursue your cases diligently, the courts have the ability to haul the lawyers into court and say, try it or I'm dismissing it. And I think that's a tool that is underutilized in Potter County.
Clerk Sermon.
Well, that probably was my DWAP docket, dismissed for want of prosecution, because I run 4 a year. We have a clean docket. Everything that isn't tried or settled in 18 months is dismissed within 6 months or set for trial. We run a very fast docket. We don't do continuances. You get one continuance because you might need it, and after that, you're set. We try something every Tuesday. We pull a jury, and we rock and roll in the county court at law number 2. And for those that are coming after me, you're welcome.
Those are our candidates for the 320th Judicial District Judge. Marcus Norris, Pamela Cook Sermon, Stephen Michael Denny, thank you for being with us.
We want to know why you guys share, and we have this.
Next up, we will hear from candidates for Judge, Potter County Court at Law number 1. Candidates on the ballot are Carrie Bryan Haney, Lynn Walker, and Walt Weaver. And we have all 3 candidates present. So again, we're going to go with the 3 times 2. We'll have a total of 6 minutes for discussion of issues pertinent to this particular office. But that discussion will follow a introduction by each of you. Again, we have a 1-minute time limit here on your introduction. We'll begin first with Jerry Morales.
Not present.
Not present.
That's number 2. Not on this
Ah,
board.
oh wait.
Jerry, get up here. Jerry.
Okay, this is the, apologies, I am skipping a line here. Okay, yes, so we were going to go with Carrie Bryan Haney to open with your introduction. Thank you for your patience as I skipped that line.
My name is Carrie Haney. I'm running for Judge, Potter County Court at Law number 1. This race is not so much about experience as it is about courage. It takes courage to be the first person to act, especially in a situation where a person or idea is entrenched. No one likes to be the first person to act, but when there are times change is necessary, there's times when change is needed. I had the courage to step out and run for this office, even under the prospect of challenging a sitting judge, because change was needed. Courage means that you make a decision that you know is right, even when everyone around you is telling you to do something different. 37 years of sports officiating has given me the courage to make a tough call and stick with it. History is filled with people that had the courage to face those with more experience and prevail. David versus Goliath, the American colonists versus King George, Texas settlers versus Santa Anna. Time and again, courage has bested experience. I'm asking that you give me the opportunity to be your next judge for Potter County Court at Law number 1. Thank you.
Lynn Walker.
Well, good evening. It's a great turnout. It's good to see everybody. I'm Lynn Walker. I've been a trial lawyer for 25 years. My practice includes criminal law and family law. Of course, I've done custody issues, divorces, that sort of thing. On the criminal side, I've defended first-degree cases. I've prosecuted everything from DWI up through and including murder. If you get me elected, I'm going to get this court running, and we're going to start smoothing some things out. Very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with the staff. They know what's going on right now. They know what needs to be changed. They know what's going to benefit the court. Which, by the way, I'd like to give a shout out to Pam Hotchkiss. Pam, where are you at? Pam, are you not going to stand up? She's back there. Pam retired today after 20-something years, and she's a great lady. Pam, I called you a quitter in the hall, and I really don't mean that. I really don't. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same 3 things I've asked every new judge to do. I'm going to treat everybody fairly. I'm going to run a court that's got a good disposition and good treatment for everybody in front of it. And I'm going to make prompt, immediate decisions as a judge. I want your vote on March 6th. Thank you very much.
and Walt Weaver.
Thank you, James. Good evening. My name is Walt Weaver. I'm running for Potter County Court of Law number 1. It's a very important court. It handles misdemeanors, and a lot of people have said, Walt, why are you giving up your very successful practice where you've made a reputation representing people across the Panhandle? And I do a lot of felonies. It's because this court is a working court, and you need trial experience. Every trial has 2 competent lawyers explaining the law to the judge. But what isn't explained to the judge is making a decision right now. That comes with experience. I am dual board certified in criminal law and criminal appellate law. And that tells the consumer and that tells the citizen that I have the experience and I've passed another test and I'm the expert. I will solve that problem. I will move on. You'll get a fair trial immediately, quickly. And I agree with Lynn that we need to get going and get to work and treat everyone fairly. And I'll do that. Thank you.
We'll now be able to go up to 6 minutes for discussion of issues that would relate to this particular position, and we will begin first with an answer from Lynn Walker. I'll ask the other 2 candidates the same. In your role as a judge, in the role of a judge, essentially you're asked to be objective in your rulings. You're asked to interpret the law as written. How much leeway do you have beyond what I've just said, and in what ways would you be exercising that leeway?
The best results that happen inside of a courtroom is always when the parties come to an agreement and present an idea for a resolution. Because if the parties are going to always know that case better than the judge. This is just a simple fact. They work with the case from start to the finish, and they present nutshells to a court, and a court has to make quick decisions. So you always want people to try to resolve things. I would encourage that as much as I can. As far as leeway goes, I think the question you're asking is probably going closer towards in criminal and whether or not you're going to incarcerate someone, and if so, for how long. It's like I used to tell people when I used to train young prosecutors and did that for a lot in my practice. And I tell people, don't try to sentence the title of a crime, you punish the behavior. So it simply depends upon the behavior. How was the person's conduct when they committed the crime? Why did they commit the crime? Did they cooperate with the police? Were they decent with the police, or were they combative? And that's the type of thing that I would consider when I'm issuing a decision.
So the question is leeway, and I think leeway can be interpreted for at least 2 different functions. You know, leeway is first punishment, as Lynn was telling us. That can only come with experience. I mean, for 25 years, I've been a felony prosecutor. I've been a defense attorney. I'm presently the special prosecutor in Carson County. That leeway depends on the facts of the situation. But the other leeways are, how do you bring a trial? How do you coordinate the dynamics of solving the problem, of getting juries, witnesses, police officers there? That leeway comes with your close communication with the trial attorneys to make it possible for the court to work efficiently, yet be fair to all sides. Thank you.
And Kerry Brian Haney.
Well, that's an interesting question, how much leeway you have. Being a sports official, I've refereed football, basketball, softball. We've got a rule book that's set in front of us, and that's our guideline. We also have code that is set in front of us, and that's our guideline. So you look at the guidelines, you look at the crime, and then you have to adjust the punishment to fit the crime. I mean, you wouldn't just randomly sentence somebody. So I think as judges, we do have some leeway within the code. First of all, the elements have to be proved, and then you look at the reason for why they did it and the circumstances. You have to take the totality of the circumstances in assessing a punishment for the crime. So there is some leeway there, and I believe that a person with sound discretion would know where that point is. So I think my discretion and judgment that I've used in officiating football and basketball and softball would come into play just as much as Mr. Weaver would in his experience on the court. So.
I'm advised we have about 2 minutes left, so we will go in this order in giving answers. We will go Walt Weaver, Carrie Brian Haney, Lynn Walker. So we'll go in this order. We've got 2 minutes. We want to be brief. Here is the question. Anyone elected to office brings to that office a certain degree of experience, certain credentials. Once elected, especially for this position as a judge, what do you do to remain competent and proficient in that job?
It's real simple. Stay curious, keep reading, and just keep studying.
I agree. There are CLEs that are available to the judges around the state. We're required to take 15 hours. I would take at least the minimum, if not more. I would take every bit of CLE I could get to help me stay current on the law. I'm a curious person. I'd still be in college if they'd let me, but they kicked me out.
It's all yours. The greatest thing in the world about being a lawyer is we get to learn every single day. And I agree with these guys. Listen, I really hated college. It was prerequisite for law school. It's all it was. And I loved law school. My wife's sitting back there in the back. I did not want law school to end. I begged her to let me go to an LLM program. She said, hell no, we're done. So that is the great thing about being a lawyer is we get to learn. It's not a challenge. It's something we get to do. And once you adopt that and just love that, it makes this job, it's not even a job. It's just something we get to do, and we're all very lucky to get to do it.
And we have, those are our candidates, and I'm being told that that was perfectly timed in terms of the utilization, so thank you, gentlemen, for that. Candidates were Judge, Potter County Court at Law number 1, Carrie Brian Haney, Walker, and Walt Weaver. Now we will proceed on to the race for Judge, Potter County Court at Law number 2. We have candidates Jerry Morales, Matt Hand, and Wade Overstreet. So thank all three of you for being with us this evening. Again, 1 minute introduction. We'll go a total of 6 minutes for discussion of issues that pertain to this office. First introduction from Jerry Morales.
First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. My name is Jerry Morales. I am running for Potter County Court at Law 2. And I am born and raised here in Amarillo. I went to Caprock High School, then I went on to Texas Tech, graduated magna cum laude there, and went on to UT for law school. For the last 9 years, my wife and I, we've moved back to Amarillo, and I've practiced a family and criminal law practice. That's important because that's essentially what this court does on a day-to-day basis. This court has about over 1,000 misdemeanors a year and about 150 family cases, and some of the most difficult cases the court's going to hear on any day is going to be the family cases, and I think it's critical to have that experience. I know what it's like to have a dad in my office in tears because he hasn't seen his child in a couple years, and even though he's made his best efforts to do that. I know what it's like to represent a mother or a spouse that's in an abusive relationship and doesn't know the way, can't find a way out. I think I have the applicable experience, and I'd ask for your vote on March 6th. Thank you.
Matt Hand.
Hello, I'm Matt Hand, and I am running for Judge, Potter County Court at Law number 2. I'm running because Potter County deserves an experienced judge. I bring to court 29 years of experience advising cases or clients and trying lawsuits in and around the Texas Panhandle and beyond. I've been endorsed by the Amarillo Police Officers Association. I'm the only candidate who's board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. I'm also the only candidate who's been subject to peer review through Amarillo attorneys through Martindale Hubbell. In the last 20 years, my fellow attorneys have rated me as distinguished for high ethics and legal ability. I'm also an Eagle Scout. I believe in service, service to God, service to country, service to others. Serving as judge of the court will allow me to satisfy all three of those obligations at the same time. I hope I have the opportunity to visit with you after this is over so I can tell you more about myself and why I'm running for judge. My name is Matt Hand, and I appreciate your vote.
and Wade Overstreet.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. My name is Wade Overstreet, and I'm a candidate for Potter County Court at Law number 2. You can find out more information about all of us in the voter guide, but what I would like to do is ask those of you here a question. What qualities do you look for in a judge? Do you look for experience, service, decency, and integrity? I believe I'm a candidate that possesses all of those qualities. Service. After the sad events of 9/11, I was proud to serve this country in the United States Army for almost a year in Iraq. For almost 17 years, I've been a prosecutor with the Potter County Attorney's Office. Experience. In those 17 years, I have tried criminal cases. I've tried civil cases. I've tried family law cases. So I have the experience that's necessary for the job. Decency. I absolutely believe that every human being is entitled to be treated with decency and respect. And you can look at our website and endorsements to see some evidence that that's how I conduct myself. And finally, on integrity, I strive to live a life of integrity, and whether it's making the right decision, even if it's unpopular, I do it. And I would appreciate your vote on March 6th. Thank you.
We have here for each of you, we will go in this order: Matt Hand, Wade Overstreet, Jerry Morales. Why would you give up a law practice or your current profession to run for judge?
I've been asked that question a lot. I came to Amarillo as house counsel with Phillips Petroleum Company. After 7 years, Phillips decided they didn't need lawyers in Amarillo anymore. Stacy and I decided we liked Amarillo more than we liked Phillips, so I turned down the transfer to Houston. Phillips left, I stayed. Been at Brown and Fortunato 22 years. I'm a trial attorney. I like what I do. I'm good at it. I like being on my side of the bench. But like I said, we must have experienced judges. I'm an Eagle Scout. I believe in service. And this is my opportunity to bring 29 years of experience to work for the people of Potter County.
Well, I'd be living a career as a prosecutor for almost 17 years. Why? Yeah, I also believe in service. I've been a prosecutor for 17 years. I've served in the Army. We're going to have a sea change in our judiciary in Potter County on March 6th. We're going to get 3 new judges out of 6 courts. It's going to be the biggest change we've had in 20 years. And I agree, we do need experienced judges and we need good judges. And I believe absolutely by experience and temperament and character, I'm well qualified for this job. It would be an advancement for me. This is a job hiring experience, and I would absolutely cherish the opportunity to serve in that capacity. Thank you.
Well, as I mentioned, I run primarily a family and criminal law practice for the last 9 years. Blessed to have 2 full-time employees and very effective and efficient practice. It was a difficult decision to decide to give that up, one that took a lot of prayer and thought and permission from my wife. And I felt that the citizens of Potter County needed somebody with the right kind of experience. Somebody, like I said, who knows what it's like to represent an individual who hasn't seen his child, knows what it's like to represent grandparents who are concerned for the safety of their kids. Or sometimes even the most difficult decision can be 2 really great parents that can't agree on who has the kid's best interest at heart, and the judge has to make that decision. I've been in court several times where I don't envy the judges and the decisions that they have to make, but that's something that I think my experience will help me do. I've had that broad perspective to see these people on a day-to-day basis. And I've also done the same on the criminal matters, so I think experience is what matters, and I think that's why we decided to go for it.
We have a balance of 3 minutes now for continuing discussion. We're going to answer this question in this order. We will go Wade Overstreet, Jerry Morales, Matt Hand. So we'll go in that order to answer this question. The question is, how will you handle special defendants in your court.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. I would like to, of course, know more about what you mean by special defendants.
To be honest, I asked for an interpretation of that adjective. Tell you, if we don't have a specific defined meaning, I think I'm going to exercise a little bit of uncomfortable latitude here myself. We're going to delete that question. To be honest with you, I asked for an interpretation of what special meant, and I was told that perhaps each of you could interpret it your own way.
Well, can I take a crack at it?
Well, I'll tell you what. Okay, then I'm going to use latitude back the other way, and we'll let each of you interpret it. For those of you watching online, this is why we have live and live stream.
When you say special defendants, what I think of are people like defendants with mental health issues, veterans, young people, okay? And so these are people who the system, particularly with misdemeanor cases, might want to treat differently. On the mental health side, and I absolutely commend Representative Price for what he has done in the state legislature, because he's made it possible for us in the criminal justice system to do more to get early assessment and treatment for criminal defendants whose main issue is they have mental health issues. What I would like to do is build on good work that Judge Tanner has done and bring the mental health docket out into the courts, and I would like to do the same thing with the veterans as well, because if people's underlying issues are connected to their service, I think this country owes it to them to try to help them, and in both of those cases, it would be diversion. So that's what I would do with special defendants. Thank you.
I forget the order. Am I next? Okay. I guess taking the same interpretation of special, with the aid of the county attorney's office, I'd also like to implement a special docket for a mental health docket and also a veterans docket, making a shorter pretrial diversion program and utilizing some of the services we have, like with Texas Panhandle Centers or the VA, things that these people have available to them outside of the court, and that we can shorten their sentence. I agree with Mr. Overstreet that that we do deserve it. We owe it to our service members to help them out if they're having an issue with something that's service related. I think, instead of getting them a conviction right away, if they have no criminal history or if it's a nonviolent offense, I don't think they deserve that conviction. They should be afforded the opportunity to work something out, on a pretrial diversion program. And same with those with the mental health issues. Thank you.
As judge, I'll have a weekly motions docket for problem cases. That can include those with substance abuse issues, mental health, veterans, any host of a case that has problems. The attorneys can bring it to court if the case needs to be dealt with in a manner that does not fit the normal course for a case. It's important because many of the people in this court with misdemeanor criminal cases have issues that have brought them to the court, but they're not criminals. They have substance problems, they have mental problems, they have something in their life that is causing issues. If we can help them get out of the system, not become repeat offenders, it's good for them, it's good for their family, it's good for their children, it's good for us as the taxpayers. One of the things we're not doing in Potter County that we should be doing, they're doing in Randall County, is offering pretrial diversion. It allows the professionals in the community supervision department to offer those services and those help, that kind of help that those people need to help them out of the system.
Candidates, thank you very much for your time. Those are the candidates for Judge, Potter County Court of Law number 2. Matt Hand, Wade Overstreet, and Jerry Morales. We appreciate your time. The next race that we are looking at is Potter County District Clerk. Potter County District Clerk, our candidates are Carly Snyder and Crystal Flores. Ladies, again, we have a 1-minute introduction. We will go first to Carly Snyder.
Hi, thank you to the League of Women Voters for having this forum tonight. I'm Carly Snyder, and I'm running for Potter County District Clerk. My goals as a district clerk are to provide excellent communication and customer service in the Potter County District Clerk's office, examine the jury pool system, and incorporate ways to minimize citizens being summoned. and continue updating and automating the district clerk's office to better serve the courts, attorneys, law enforcement, and the public. I support pro-life and Second Amendment. I'm a conservative with a strong work ethic. I have 38 years of experience in the legal field, and I know I have the experience to what it will take to lead the Potter County District Clerk's Office. I have a passion for learning new things and solving problems when they arise. Of all of my qualifications, I consider myself accountable, honest, and integrity beyond belief or reproach. I pledge to make the clerk's office work with extreme efficiency, and I would ask for your vote for Potter County District Clerk on March the 6th.
Crystal Flores.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Flores, and I am a lifelong resident of Amarillo. I was raised in the North Side, and I attended Paladuro High School. I was an honors graduate, and also by the age of 17, I was married with a son. My son will be 21 tomorrow. He is on a full scholarship at West Texas A&M, music major. I also have a younger son, 14, student at Paladuro in the JROTC and band. In 1997, I was hired part-time by the Potter County Records Management, and within 2 years, I was hired by the district clerk. By 2001, I became supervisor, and I perform all aspects of a supervisor. I am a firm believer in the Republican values, personal responsibility, local control, limited government, and the Second Amendment. Thank you, and I would ask that you consider voting for me on March 6th.
And using the 2 times 2 multiplier, we have 4 minutes for discussion of issues. We will go first to Crystal Flores. First question, I think, is one that many residents of Potter County would love to get a great answer on. What is the reason people are called to jury duty so often?
That is a good question. In Potter County, we have a different demographic than Randall County. We don't have as high as a pool of available jurors, and that's because we have more people that are able to claim exemptions, such as age or not having someone that can take care of their children. We also have a higher rate of crime. We have more businesses. We have the hospitals. And we do get a lot of information from both the voter registration and DPS. Some of the DPS data is old or it's out of date. But our jury room has been diligent about cleaning that up. And 2017 was the first year that we did not have to recompile our jury pool.
Snyder. Carly Snyder.
Well, I work for a district court in Potter County and Randall County, and we have to deal with the juries being pulled, and we do have problems at times with not having enough people showing up for jury duty. And it's like Crystal said, the demographics are a little bit different than Randall. They don't seem to have that problem in Randall County. People get called more and more often, and I think it's just because of the reason that Crystal said. It's the people, just the demographics. That's all.
Okay, we have time for a quickly answered rapid question from each of you. Maybe a short answer. We'll go to you, Carly Snyder, first. How would you protect sensitive data, and what measures are in place at this time?
Well, we have a new program, Odyssey, that the clerk has implemented last March, and there is a problem with the e-filing and all the electronic stuff's going on, and it does have to be protected. And there is a way to do that, and I think that's a very serious issue, that things are not being maybe protected like they should be. And there is a way to do that.
Crystal Flores.
We, in the clerk's office, recently instituted a new software program that gives us the ability to restrict sensitive information. We do not provide that information online. Also, there is some types of cases where information is required by statute. The clerks are very diligent about looking at statutes and making sure that if there's something that shouldn't be out there, they make sure it's not out there. With e-filing, there is a responsibility by the attorneys that file information that if there is something that should be redacted, that information must be redacted when filed. Also, if it has sensitive data, that needs to be marked as sensitive.
Candidates, thank you for your time. Again, those are the candidates for Potter County District Clerk. We have Carly Snyder and Crystal Flores. Thank you. Thank you for being with us tonight. Our next race, the final one we are looking at tonight for Potter County Justice of the Peace, Precinct 2. The candidates are Richard Herman and Robert Taylor. Thank you for being with us. Same rules apply. We have time for a 1-minute introduction from each of you. We'll begin with Richard Herman.
Good evening. My name is Richard Herman. I'm currently serving as Justice of the Peace in the same Potter County precinct I grew up in. I am honored and humbled to be here on the same stage I was about 4 years ago with all you good-looking people. I served in the military for more than 3 decades because I love my country. In 2013, I was medically retired with permanent disabilities due to combat injuries. Now jump ahead to 2015. What did I get myself into? I took office as Justice of the Peace and set out, keeping my promises, to get rid of all the years of backlog cases, sometimes working 70, 80-hour work weeks. But we accomplished the promises kept. Well, then just as things were getting closer to a 40 to 50-hour work week, my courtroom and 2 adjoining offices were flooded, which all of you seen on TV. It looked like the waterfalls. Well, we had to barter out usage for our court. We had to take our cases home in the evening, and through it all, we finally got it back to where we're working about a 40 to 50-hour work week. Thank you for your time.
Robert Taylor.
I took an oath in 1973, was to protect, serve, and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I still hold true to that commitment as a law enforcement officer. Perhaps it was started when I was a Boy Scout in Quahatis, where I was an Eagle Scout and Senior Assistant Head Chief. I've served the community for over 40 years with military and as a police officer. I participated in community events with Make-A-Wish, Hilltop Senior Citizens, Downtown Chamber, and most important to me, I started the Shop of the Cop program, now known as FOP Cops and Kids, some 22 years ago. I look forward to serving my community more as Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, where I'll bring an ethical operation, both on and off the clock, one with integrity, honesty, and dignity to the citizens of Potter County, and especially Precinct 2. I'm Robert Taylor. I'm a candidate for Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 in Potter County, and I would appreciate your vote on March the 6th.
We have up to a total of 4 minutes of time for discussion. We're going to begin with this one that is generally applied to all of the candidates tonight, but we'll give it to you here in this race, beginning with Robert Taylor. What is your position on protecting the rights of crime victims?
Well, as a law enforcement officer for the last 34 years, I've taken numerous reports on crime victims. We do it at the college still. I do it at Lake Tanglewood still. Even though that's a gated community, they still do have their offenses down there. But you have to take in consideration the crime, what happened to them, and we have systems set up today that assist those victims in different aspects, and some of those need to be looked at even on the JP court side, whether you're indigent, whether or not you have money or not money. And I think letting people know where they stand as a whole in our criminal justice system is a plus for everybody.
Could you ask the question again so I make sure I get the answer right?
Sure. What is your position on protecting the rights of crime victims?
I'm glad you asked that question, and I'm in total disagreement with everything that my opponent said this evening. You see, as a magistrate, we have bond conditions that we can put in place to protect our victims. For example, a victim of domestic violence, we can place a protective order, ordering that person to stay away from them, therefore protecting the victim. If they committed a crime on a certain property, we can put conditions in place that will keep them away. If we want to, we can even order them to put a GPS leg thing on, or any. Boy, I'm always out of time. Anyway, there's a lot of things in place we do as magistrates. The state of Texas allows us to do it as JPs to protect victims of crime.
Told again that we will need to go quickly on this answer. So I will ask this again. We'll go in reverse order from where we just did. We'll begin with you, Richard Herman. What can be done to strengthen the way this office handles the cases that come before it?
Okay, as I said before, when I was opening up, when I took the office over, we had years of backlog cases. And so through the help of our other Justice of the Peace up there, Debbie Horn and Judge Jackson, they gave me a lot of ideas on procedures to put in place. I use Lean Sigma 6, which is about cutting out the fat. By the technology that we recently purchased in the county, we have Texture now, and it all streamlines everything. And right now, I'm proud to say our office is within or below all state recommended requirements on timelines.
Robert Taylor.
Well, I can't say the same thing he does because I'm not in that office yet. However, I think streamlining the court system on evictions. I didn't know this until I got into this race, that countywide we have about nearly 250 evictions a month in Potter County. That's a lot. People losing their houses, being told to leave. If you go by the statutes, you have about 19 days to get somebody out of the house. That's the quickest it can be done by state law. So I'd like to shorten that time. A lot of people will move out before that 19 days. You don't have to go through court. Otherwise, it takes somewhere around 25 to 30 days by the time you give them credit. So I'd like to work on that so nobody loses their home, nobody loses their place of refuge and a place to raise their family. So that's one of the things I'd like to work on.
Again, the candidates for Justice of the Peace Precinct 2, Potter County, Richard Herman, Robert Taylor. Thank you for being with us. Now we go to the candidates for Randall County. We'll be looking at a number of races for Randall County, beginning with Judge, Randall County Court at Law, number 2. Our candidates are James Abbott, Matt Martindale, and Stuart Warner. One minute of time for your personal introductions.
First of all, I want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters and James Hunt for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. I want to tell you that tonight I told folks that I'm the luckiest man in the world. I'm losing my voice, but I am the luckiest man in the world. I'm lucky to be running in this race with 2 other great guys, and no matter who wins this race, you're going to see positive improvements in our court system in Randall County, and that excites me. I'm also lucky because I've been married to my wife Brenda for 30 years. I tell her she's the luckiest woman in the world, but we all know I'm the luckiest man in the world. I'm lucky that I get to practice law in Randall County, the greatest place in the world. I love this county. I love these people. I look forward to working for you as your next judge of the Randall County Court at Law number 2. But to do that, I need your vote. Thank you.
Hi, folks. My name is Matt Martindale, and I'm running for Randall County Court at Law number 2. I am a former city attorney, criminal district attorney. I handle criminal defense cases, CPS cases, juvenile cases, and family law cases. And tonight we've heard a lot of discussions about veterans courts, and mental health courts. And just today, I've been volunteering for a couple of years on Potter County's veterans and mental health courts, and I was today in court on one of those cases. I think it's very important that we implement in Randall County a veterans and a mental health court. I don't know why we don't have one of those. My name is Matt Martindale. I'm running for Randall County Court at Law number 2, and I would appreciate your vote.
Good evening. Thank you for the privilege of being here with you tonight. My name is Stuart Warner, and I'm running for judge of the Randall County Court at Law number 2. I bring 37 years of courtroom experience to this election. That experience is important because the Randall County Court at Law number 2 hears mostly family law cases, about 30% criminal misdemeanor cases, civil cases, probate, and guardianship cases. I have extensive experience in each of the matters that court hears. And that experience is important because it provides the wisdom needed to make the very difficult decisions that this court must make. For instance, in the family context, the court hears very complicated property division matters, but they also hear child custody matters. And the decision this court makes could have or has a very profound impact and perhaps a lifelong impact on the lives of the children and their family. So experience is very important in this race. I have the most experience of the candidates. I'm the most qualified. I ask for your vote in the March 6th Republican primary. Thank you.
Okay, I'm being asked to make this a quick one. Well,
good luck.
Yeah.
Matt and I like to talk. So.
Yeah, we'll go again with that term capsule comment. In serving in office, as I said to the candidates in another race, you come into the office with a certain amount of experience, certain amount of credentials. To retain your competency, to build upon your proficiency, what will you need to do in this office? And we'll begin first with Stuart Warner.
Well, I have the most experience, extensive experience with all the matters that this court has heard. I've done continuing legal education. I've exceeded the minimum requirements every year. I'm a member of the College of the State Bar of Texas, which means I exceed that minimum number of hours. I suppose with CLE and continued study, I will stay abreast of the law and what I need to do to serve as judge.
James Abbott.
What was the question again, briefly?
Question, in office, bringing what you do to the office if elected, what will you do going forward to, let's say, retain your competency, build on your proficiency?
That's a very good question, because one of the reasons I wanted to be an attorney was because I realized attorneys never stop learning. I'm kind of a dork. I like going to class. And like Stuart, I'm a member of the State Bar College, which means I take way more classes than I'm required to do. One of the ways we as lawyers keep our skills up is by doing that continuing education. But I can also look back on my 20-year career at all the cases I've handled. We've done tons of family law, criminal law, civil law. Everything this court does, we do already. And so I'll bring that experience to the bench. And I'll continue taking those classes because guess what? Y'all are going to pay me to go take those classes. That'll be great. My wife's tired of paying for all these classes, and she wants you to start paying for them.
Matt Martindale.
Darn right, we're going to take those classes. I can't wait to take those classes. I loved law school, just like Lynn did. I didn't want to get out of law school. Unfortunately, I did it in 2.5 years. I did it as quickly as I could because I needed to get out and I needed to start working. And that's what, as judges, that's what we're going to do. We have to stay up with the law. We've been working as attorneys for a long time. All of us have. We've taken all kinds of cases in, and we've done all kinds of law. I want to be the judge of this court because I've handled all of these kinds of cases. But I'm not going to just take what I learned. I'm going to go study more law and continue to study because I want this job. I love Randall County. I care about what happens in Randall County. I care about people. I care about mental illness. I care about veterans. And I want this job. And I care about what happens. I care about continuing legal education. And I am going to do the best job I can.
Candidates for Randall County Judge, Randall County Court at Law number 2. We have James Abbott, Matt Martindale, Stuart Warner. Thank you so much for being with us. Next up, we have the candidates for Randall County Clerk, Jamie Love, Marie McNutt, and Susan Allen. Thank you for being with us. 1 minute introductions, please, and we begin with Jamie Love.
Good evening. I am Jamie Love, and I'm running for Randall County Clerk. LOVE stands for loyal, organized, valuable, efficient. I am a graduate from West Texas A&M with a bachelor's degree in business administration, accounting major. I have been a full-time employee of the Randall County Auditor's Office for over 12 years. I am currently the internal auditor, which means I audit county offices, including the county clerk's office. I am a certified fraud examiner, so I have the training to reduce fraudulent risk. My budgetary and financial background and my overall county experience, along with my certification, allows me to better serve Randall County residents. If elected Randall County Clerk, I will continue to be the full-time employee I've been for the last 12 years. Someone with a work ethic second to none, and proven work performance. I look forward to continuing to serve the citizens by utilizing my knowledge and experience of Randall County, and will work the best interest of the taxpayers in mind. Thank you all for coming, and I ask for your vote on March 6th.
Hello, I'm Marie McNutt, and I'm running for Randall County Clerk. I'd like to thank the Amarillo League of Women Voters for having us here tonight, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I have been married to my husband for 36 years. He has served in Randall County at the Sheriff's Office for 23 years, and he just retired a little over a year ago. I have worked at the Randall County Clerk's Office for the last 8 years, serving the citizens of Randall County. I'd like to continue that service, and I would like to implement a few other changes that would increase better service to the citizens of Randall County. And I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you.
That's good. Hello, I am Susan Allen, and I am running for Randall County Clerk. I have over 30 years of experience in accounting and office management. Always seeking to be proactive, I have been working with our neighbors, the Potter County Clerk's Office, so that I can, on day one, be able to meet all the responsibilities as being a Randall County Clerk. I do know the keys to success are in building a principal team dedicated to serving Randall County with transparency, responsive service, and effectiveness. I do not believe that being a Randall County Clerk is an 8-to-5 job. I believe that you need to be committed and involved. I had to step down as a precinct chair, election judge, and working with our Randall County chairman just to run for this position. I believe that with my experience, proactiveness, and conservative values, I hope that you would vote for me as your next Randall County Clerk. Thank you.
We have 6 minutes now for discussion of issues in the race. We will go in this order in getting answers to the question I'm about to ask. Marie McNutt, Susan Allen, Jamie Love. That's the order we will go with. Again, Marie McNutt, we will begin with you first. The question: what are your intentions if persons are filing for a same-sex marriage?
That is a very good question. That was an issue that has been brought up, in the last couple of years. The Attorney General's office, their suggestion is that we file same-sex marriage license. Therefore, we file same-sex marriage license. No questions asked. Thank you.
Susan Allen.
Well, first of all, we're not there as counselors. We're there to work. Anyone who comes in there and wants to file for marriage, we will provide that information. Thank you.
Jamie Love.
While I have conservative values, you do have to abide by the law and uphold the U.S. Constitution. So everybody has the right to get a marriage license, whether you're same-sex marriage or man and a woman.
We have time for one more question. We will go for answers in this order: Susan Allen, Jamie Love, Marie McNutt. Here is the question. We'll need to keep answers brief. In terms of your work experience, life experience, what do you bring to the table that allows you to serve this office particularly?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I have served in my lifetime for many years with people. I love people. My background in accounting and office management has given me opportunity to understand what it's like to work as a team, to be together. And I do believe that when you have a good team that is happy with what they do, they're going to perform better. I know that working as a Randall County clerk will give me a lot of opportunities to serve the community and to be able to assist the citizens with what they need.
Jamie Love.
As I said, I'm currently in the auditor's office. I've been in there for over 12 years. I'm the internal auditor, so I audit county offices, including the county clerk's office. I may not know day-to-day processes, but I am a quick learner, and I have the integrity to learn each position and do what needs to be done in that office as well as it can be.
Marie McNutt.
Well, I currently work in the Randall County Clerk's office, and so I bring that experience to the table for this office. I think that prepares me in a very large way to be able to continue the service in this office. I have a lifelong service reputation. Everything I've done, it's been as a service to people. I really care about people. I care about the people of Randall County. I care about the things that are important to them. Your marriage license, your criminal record, your records are important to me because they are important to you. And I can continue to bring you great service. Thank you.
For Randall County Clerk, Jamie Love, Marie McNutt, Susan Allen, thank you for being with us. Next up, we have Randall County Commissioner, Precinct 2. There are two candidates in the race, Mark Benton and Tam Boatler. And we will go with 1-minute introductions, beginning with Mark Benton.
Okay. I appreciate that all of y'all have come out tonight to listen to all the candidates. My name is Mark Benton. I'm running for re-election for Precinct 2, Randall County Commissioner. I came here 30 years ago to build the Clements unit. Loved it. Was fortunate enough to meet my wife and chose to stay here. I've been very privileged to serve the residents of Randall County for the last 8 years, and I'm asking for your vote to continue doing that. The Commissioner's Court is a team of 5 people that have to work together, though I certainly advocate for Precinct 2 and those things that come up with the residents in Precinct 2. The Commissioner's Court has to work together to get things done. We've provided a lot of facilities and equipment, both for you as residents and for those that work in the county. And one of the biggest things going forward is the growth in the county, and my construction background will continue to help with that. Thank you.
Tam Boatler.
I'm Tam Boatler, and I'm running against Mr. Benton. I got into this race mainly to give the voters a choice. If you don't know me, I've been an Amarillo policeman for over 40 years. I promoted to the rank of captain, from lieutenant, from sergeant, from corporal, from officer. I manage 92 people as of today. We just counted them today. And I have extensive experience in mid-management. I have extensive experience in city budgetary experience and things like that. And that's the reason I got into this race. So I come from a little bit different background. I come from a blue-collar family, but I also come with an inquisitive mind. I want to know why things work and why things are done. We just got a new police chief, and he's pretty tough, and he's asked us a lot of questions. And one of the things he doesn't want to hear is, because that's the way we've always done it. So that's the reason I got into this race. Thank you.
We have 4 minutes for discussion of issues pertinent to this particular office, and we'll go first in answering this question to Tam Boatler, then we go Mark Benton. First question is, candidate Boatler, within the county budget, what do you see that needs to be remedied?
I know it's a $50 million budget. I got into this race because my intention is to retire at the end of this year and study that extensively if I get elected. I'll have 10 months to study that budget. My main thing right now is to get elected, but I don't like waste. And somebody brought up the judges thing. And I have extensive knowledge of that, extensive background of that. What was happening was we were calling judges, they wouldn't answer the phone. So then we had to go to a different situation and hire judges just to do that. That's costing around $45,000 a year just for that. If I remember right, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But that's one of the reasons that problem came up.
Mark Benton.
We have a good problem to have in Randall County right now, and we have for many years. We have lots of growth. Along with that lots of growth is providing the services both for dealing with the roads that are being impacted and looking out for homeowners, both current and prospective, as new subdivisions are built. So it's a battle constantly that we deal with when we do budgets. How do we pay for that? Sunday, I was driving one of the roads in what used to be rural Randall County between Soncy and Bushland. It's much less rural than it used to be. But there was a concern from a citizen, and I had to look at it. Called him, talked to him. I didn't solve all his concerns, but that is an issue when you sit on this side of the table to budget. How do you do that? More money, less money? When the fires are burning, you want more firefighters. So that's always a challenge, how to do that. Thank you.
We have time for one more question apiece. As much as possible, we'd want a short answer. What we're looking for here, though, candidate Benton, as you mentioned, we have seen a change in the complexion of Randall County, a greater urbanization. We have seen growth. Does the county need more growth? If so, how to go about that? Or are there things that perhaps need to be done to, let us say, constrain growth? And if so, how do you do that?
Well, as was said before, and I agree with this, free market, I don't know if we want to constrain people's rights to purchase land and do with it as they can that's legal. But that is obviously something we have talked quite a bit about. How do we do that? We have had problems in the past with roads and bar ditches and other things that weren't built properly. So we have tried to not constrain growth, but be smarter about growth by trying to put into place through Road and Bridge some ways to deal with that. Obviously, one thing that Randall County doesn't have that Potter does, we don't have, Randall County is almost all agriculture and homes. So bringing in more business would be one way to help facilitate paying for some of that growth. Thank you.
Tam Boatler.
Well, I agree with Mr. Benton. I think Randall County is going to continue to grow. I hope that it does grow. Whether you agreed with the ballpark or not, it's coming, and I think we should get behind it and support it. Of course, it's in Potter County, but it's also going to affect Randall County, and I think we're going to have more and more people come in, and it's going to continue to happen. So, yes, I think we need to be prepared for that. I think we need to plan for that, and I welcome that happening. But along the lines, we've got to have the roads and the schools and the infrastructure to do that. Thank you.
Our candidates for Randall County Commissioner Precinct 2, Mark Benton, Tam Boatler, thank you for being with us. And we have time remaining for introduction of candidates for the party chair positions, both parties, both counties. In Potter County, we have 2 candidates for Democratic County Chair Steve Land and Gentry Powell, and a candidate for the Republican position, Bill Bandy. Do we have these candidates here tonight? Okay, we have, this is Steve Land, and I understand that what we're permitting here is a minute for remarks. And oh, you found your way to your own microphone. Well done.
Thank you all for the moment to speak. As Potter County Chairman of the Democratic Party, I would simply work for the Democratic candidates that are on the ballot. I have some experience in organizing and would bring that to bear in the carrying out the duties of the office. Thank you all very much.
County side, on Randall County side, we have candidates for party chairs in the Democratic Party, Mariah Strong Woods. On the Republican side, Terry Harmon and Ginger White. Do we have any of these? We do. Terry Harmon.
I'm Terry Harmon. I'm a candidate for re-election for the Randall County Chair. I've been county chair for 4 years. The party has continued to grow during this time. President Trump received over an 80% vote in Randall County. I have, in this 4 years, there is no pay. You spend a lot of hours and lots of your own money in order to try to accomplish the purposes of this party. I've had a lot of wonderful people that have worked with me. If you don't know me personally, ask some of these people that have been working with me what kind of job we're doing and together in Randall County to promote the Republican Party. I would appreciate your vote and continue to serve you in this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry Harmon. That concludes our presentations tonight by our candidates for office. We certainly appreciate you being here. And certainly, again, we want to say thank you to Panhandle PBS for being with us, Amarillo College, all the others who have helped. Are you wanting the microphone?
Thank you, James. Appreciate your work
Oh,
as
okay.
our moderator.